Yo, what is good, guys? Welcome back to another video. With the stocks kind of looking like it's kind of coming back a little bit. I'm not saying that we hit a bottom, but we're getting a lot of easing with the tariffs and everything like that. I'm gonna give you guys the top stocks to look at, but overall, let's look at the overall SPY first and kind of just peep how it's kind of looking. It's been looking great recently, going upwards. I think we have 3 or 4 days in the green, which is great. And honestly, I'm not saying that we're back in the bullish market. I'm not saying that we weren't in the bullish market. But with that being said, I remember a year ago when the video was popping off, I made a bunch of money on option plays and I even built my long term a little bit. But I also want to announce that I'm coming out with a video maybe next week or the week after. I got to work on it a little bit more, but I have $100,000 that I'm investing in the stocks. And I want to kind of show you guys how to invest in the long term and stuff like that. And this is kind of like a little video kind of explaining stocks and what stocks you guys should add to your long term and just invest in, even for the short term. I day trade, swing trade, and have a couple long terms, just depending on when I want to cash out. But I'm going to give you guys the top stocks and keep your eyes open for that video because I kind of want to update you guys like probably monthly on how that portfolio is going. But I got to work on everything, getting the money in the account and everything. So yeah. But first off, man, I think initially we're going to start off with the easy stock or easy ETF to say, and that is the SPY. Okay. Everybody, if you guys don't know what this is, the SPY 500, it's an ETF for the S&P 500. But with that being said, you will make a decent amount of money, decent amount of returns. I think the past couple of years, it's been up above 20+% every single year. Not every single year. I think the average is like 10 to 15%. Basically, it's just a safe place to put your money. But if we zoom out to the 4 hour time frame, kind of give you guys a little zoom out of where it was, we're all the way up to that 613 level. So that means we have a lot of room to basically move up. And then if we kind of go out a little bit more and look at bigger sell-offs or some decent sell-offs, like 428 all the way down to 348, and then look at it. If you give it a few months, it comes back, make new all-time highs, and then basically another sell-off, then it comes back and makes incredible highs. So this is just a safe one to trade, basically. Some levels. I want to give you guys levels too, what you guys should be looking at to buy. So right now, I'm not gonna lie, I think it's not a great opportunity like we had the past couple of days. But I think honestly, just depending on how this rally goes, I think we will probably have another big sell off, maybe down to that 530 to that 520. But I do recommend scooping up, watching that 520 level first. And then maybe even if it breaks below, I basically agree with dollar cost averaging. And especially if you buy it, at that 520 level, and then we fall down like we did recently to that 508 dollar cost average, wait a little bit, hold some more money because maybe it falls down, you dollar cost average, and it comes back up. Kind of like what you've seen here. You probably bought at that 520, fell down, dollar cost average, and you save maybe some more money that you're going to invest into it. And then worst comes to worst, you invest back at that 520 and or you get a better positioning basically. But I do recommend looking at that 520 level. And then a little bit higher, if you're a little bit more impatient, I'll be looking at that 530 to that 535 level. I'm not going to say it's going to sell off again, big sell off, but with that being said, watch those levels for the SPY. Apple, honestly, you're probably watching this on an Apple device, and or you or a friend or a family member has an iPhone. I personally use a MacBook. I mean, honestly, if you personally use Apple, I recommend having this in your long term and even investing into for short term basically. The good thing about Apple is that if we get good news with China, Apple's going to benefit. I think 90% of their iPhones is made in China. And we kind of got some good news one time, basically saying that there's a tariff relief for Apple. And we were all the way down to that 197 and it bounced all the way up to that 208 to that 210 level, basically overnight with some good news. So I personally trade this one. I swing trade this one, get some calls in just in case if we do good. And I've been making a decent amount of money off of that. And it's just a great stock to have for the long term. Some of the levels to look at to invest in for your long term, that 200 level first. I feel like that's very very good level. And then if we start bouncing lower, we've seen it at that 190. So look at that 190, and then we also seen it down at that 170. If you scooped up at 170, good job, because I don't even think it's going to get back down below that unless we just get horrible news. I think they did just get sued. I think Apple and another company for like $500 million, but it didn't really affect them that much. So keep that on your mind while investing into this for your long term. Also, do your own research, but everybody should know what Apple is, what they do, and basically their sales and everything like that. So yeah, Apple is a great one. Next one is everybody's favorite, I believe. Maybe not so much anymore, but Nvidia. NVIDIA just kind of went up a bunch. Look at it from the monthly a little bit. We did have a big fat rally. Look at this. This is in 1 month, $84 all the way up to 109. And then just some incredible months from NVIDIA, basically just with the AI. So if you guys don't know, NVIDIA basically is the powerhouse of all AI. They make the chips and they basically sell them to other companies. So if you use ChatGPT, anything that you use, honestly, that uses AI, it could even be Instagram, it could be literally anything, but they make the chips for it and help supply things for the data center. They even build data centers. If you guys didn't know that, cooling and everything like that. They do work with other companies, but they basically can build your own thing. So Nvidia is a great stock for that. And I honestly think that you should look at it at the 105 to the $100 level. I've been telling a lot of people to load up at the $100 level. We've been holding above it decently in the long term. Short term, it has been, below it a little bit, but we have been holding strong above that 100 and kind of been around that 105 to that 110. But I think this stock is really much worth it, even at that 110. But even 105 to that 100 is great too. People are saying that the stock can get up to 150 to that 200 level by the end of the year. So get in. Another stock, honestly, it's literally moving with NVIDIA now, but it doesn't have as much as a market cap. So if you zoom or go down a little bit more, their market cap is 2.61 billion, and then NVIDIA is like 3 trillion or 2.72 trillion, sorry. But Palantir. So why is Palantir good? They secure government contracts, okay? Because why is that great? Because that's basically unlimited, not unlimited cash flow, but cash flow even in bad times. Government's never going to become poor. But with that being said, that's just great cash flow, and it's not just the U.S. government; it's other governments too. But they're basically AI, and they kind of just work. They use AI for the company. Basically, it's kind of hard to explain, but if you guys just do a little bit of research, you guys will understand. But Palantir is just that stock that you want to get into before it's too late. Even now, even with the ups and downs we've been having recently, it's still a great stock to get into before it's too late. We're about to reach all-time highs once again, which is insane. We're literally like $15 away from it. But Palantir is a great stock to invest in, and I personally recommend getting into it. And we've been climbing up a great amount recently. So Palantir is a great one. Next one, you might not believe it, but Tesla. Tesla has been doing good, but I recommend waiting, waiting a decent amount because Tesla might fall. I did indeed have this picture of a listing of Tesla. Actually, a lot of people playing puts on Tesla. So this is not a great time. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna be straight up 100 with you. This is not a great time. I might be wrong, but just with what everybody's saying and just how the stock and everything is moving, it's just not a great time. But the cool thing about Tesla is that they're more than an EV company. Their EV sales are kind of trash right now. But what they are doing, they're making robo taxis, fully autonomous driving vehicles, robots. But you also have to understand that that's going to take some time to basically develop. I think a lot of investors, they're going to wait until the robots, the autonomous driving, all that is basically out before they invest all of their money into it. But we were up to highs of like what, 400. I think we made like 460, 488, highs of 488, which was insane. So I mean, for right now, this isn't a bad price, but I do recommend having your patience and looking at that 250 to that 240 level to buy it, because I mean I think that's the best place to get it. If you can buy it at that 218, you're lucky, but I think that 240 to 250 is a great level, maybe even 260 if you're a little bit more impatient. And you can even buy it here, but I honestly just recommend waiting. And one thing to note, what's causing this rally? So recently, like I said before, the earnings weren't really great to say. We can look at the stats right here, but the earnings weren't that great. But Elon Musk, which is the owner, CEO, if you guys didn't know, I mean, I think you're living on a rock if not. But he basically is saying that he might take more time away from Doge and put it towards Tesla. And that, I mean, everybody loves that idea. So yeah. Next one is Amazon. Honestly, if you're in a household or anything, you're going to understand that people order from Amazon. It is so convenient, especially that same day shipment sometimes and that next day shipment. Everybody uses Amazon. It's the biggest e-commerce store. And if you really think about it, with the tariffs, I think tariffs are going to benefit Amazon more because before people were going to Alibaba and understanding that things are way cheaper there. People are literally reselling things on Alibaba, on Amazon, and people understand that if it's coming from Alibaba, they might as well save that $50, $60 sometimes. So yeah, so I think Amazon is a great stock to get in, especially for a long term. I used to short term trade this stock, but honestly, I think for the long term, Amazon is the way to go. especially around Christmas season. You guys can buy it like right after that Christmas sell, like that, and then sell it when Christmas is coming back, and then you can make a decent amount of money once a year with this stock. So do have this one on your mind and on your radar. And yeah, but before we get into the next stock, next two stocks, next stock, any ETF, I want to talk about Bitcoin because Bitcoin, we're kind of on a rally and we're almost at that $100,000 level, which is kind of insane because we're all the way down to like that 70K a couple weeks ago, but we are almost breaking that 100K again. And what stock to look at is MSTR, okay? Because MSTR, honestly, I think we were down like low twos, 230. Imagine you bought it at that 230 and loaded up. I know somebody that loaded up at like that I think like 220 level before that rally, and they made a bunch of money. I think they made like 20 G's or something, which is insane. And that's all shares. But MSTR is going to benefit because they have a big holding in Bitcoin. It's not even about their company. Their earnings can come out and people are looking for the Bitcoin numbers. So MSTR is a great stock to look at, especially if Bitcoin is rallying, but understand crypto before you get into MSTR. But another one to look at is IBIT, and it's basically just like the S&P or the SPY. It's basically a ETF that moves with Bitcoin. So at around 57, I think is that 100K level. But this is just a great one to hold if you don't want to hold Bitcoin itself. And you can even play option plays for those short-term traders out there. So I do recommend looking into that. Okay, this one is for the big ballers, but understand that you can buy fractional shares. But I think Netflix is great because tariffs don't really affect Netflix, and Netflix is just honestly a lot. I think everybody that I know has a Netflix account, and if not, maybe they're borrowing one. If you understand what I mean. But $1,100, I ain't gonna lie. Like a few weeks ago, we were trading below that, like at 800s. But 1,100, I honestly don't think that you should get this stock above 1,000 at all. I do recommend waiting, and I think a great buy level is if we just zoom out a little bit with that 4-hour time frame is indeed what we had recently, and that around that 800 to that 900 level is great to buy this stock. The 813, you're lucky right now, but I think anywhere below that $900 level and then above that 800, maybe not above, you can buy below it, but anywhere below that 900 level is great to buy this stock. But this is just one that's basically very, very safe. I'm not even gonna lie, and I would recommend getting into it. But with that being said, guys, thanks for watching the video. Stay tuned for me investing $100,000 into a new long-term account. This is just an experiment account because I want to learn a little bit more too. But thanks for watching the video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and comment down W if you want me to make a $100 to $1,000 video, and then $1,000 to $10,000 video, and then 10,000 to 100K video. That one's gonna be tough. I'm not even gonna lie. But thanks for watching the video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.